Greetings, sunshines and sunnies. It is I, Queen J Lotus Pimp Sun Kiss, coming at y'all right quick, right fast, certainly, for a relaxed royale review for the Bernie Mac show. Now, why y'all ain't tell me that it's been almost a year since the last time I did a Bernie Mac show review? Honey, what is going on? Y'all got to help me stay on my game. But y'all, we is back, okay? We got our ducks in a row, and we is ready to go. So, for today's episode, we is on season 1, episode 9, Hot, Hot, Hot. And so this is described as a hot winter day. Y'all know they in California. The seasons hit different out there according to their climate. And apparently it is hot AF out there where they be during the wintertime. At least at this point in the wintertime. And like we do most of the time, we kick off the episode. Without further ado, we get into the officialities of the episode, kicking off with a confessional from your guy, Bernie Mac. And he is drenched in sweat, honey. And he's talking about he just went outside to get him newspaper. And baby, just like that, 30 seconds, look at him. Sweating, bullets, sweating, galore, sweating a pool. And I'm going to tell you, the way it's been down here this summer and the way that it be down here in Mississippi during the summer and spring and all of that. That's exactly how it be. You can step outside your door. You ain't even got to step all the way out the door and let the door close behind you. Just step out your door. Just a little taste, honey. And just stand there for not even 30 seconds. You gonna immediately start sweating. The other day I pulled up to my dude's house, got up out my car, walked to the door, and inside, just like that, I was sweating. He said, "What you been doing?" I said, "I got out the car and walked to the door." That's it. Literally, that is it. So when I tell you I feels Bernie, I feels him. They let you know it's too damn hot. And like he just said, California in the middle of winter is 95 degrees. Now, honey, I ain't ever experienced that. That's something else. I ain't never experienced that. And that's why I said, California, one of them places that got. Now, Mississippi is a place that got a special type of climate. Louisiana is a place that got a special type of climate. Florida, Texas, as well as California. We could throw New York and Chicago in there, but I'm talking about more so that be dealing with heat and the spectrum of heat. Yes, the spectrum of heat hits different in each one of them states that I just named. And in Mississippi, certain parts of Florida, and Louisiana, the humidity is the leading factor, as it concerns the speciality of heat in these particular places. But when it comes to like Texas and California and certain places in Florida, certain other places in Florida, it just be hot. Just straight hot, okay? And I ain't saying one is worse than the other. These are just different brands of heat, okay? In Mississippi, we don't have gills, but we probably need gills because all of the moisture and water in the air, honey, it ain't even got to be that hot. The moisture in the air will take it up a whole nother notch. And the same thing applies for like Louisiana and in certain places in Florida. Like I said, in Texas, certain places in Florida, certain other places in Florida, and in California, honey, hot. Because it ain't hardly that many trees that can, facilitate a certain type of coolness and shade and all of that. It's like the difference between eating red hot gum and eating those baked bean candies. Them baked bean candies, just hot. People who eat them gotta be psychopaths because you don't even taste like nothing. It's just hot. Versus the red hot gum, it's gonna burn you up too, but at least you're getting a little sweetness and flavor from the cinnamon. Child, yes, it was necessary for me to go on a whole tangent about the spectrum of heat. Yes, absolutely. And if you're from either one of the states that I named, one way or another, honey, you know exactly why I found it necessary. Same reason Bernie felt it necessary to do his tangent, let alone this episode, okay? Because he's going on, he can't, it's draining to him, and he's telling us like this here, he gonna sit right there, he gonna chill for the rest of the day, at least that's what he wants to, until he hear Brianna and Jordan, as usual, arguing loud as I'll get out about something redunculous, talking about black go first, red go first, black go first, red go first, no it doesn't, yes it does, no it doesn't, yes it does, and so Bernie's like, baby, no, I thought heat was supposed to slow the kids down. You got to be more careful. Again, most things are a spectrum, right? For some people, that heat'll bring you on down. For others, it'll bring you on up. Me personally, I tend to be more energized and, motivated and ready to get it when it's hot versus when it's cold. But some people when it's hot, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be like, not Nathaniel. They don't want to go outside. Or none of that. I'm more so like that when it's cold. When I'm cold, leave me alone, back up. I'm irritated. Everybody shut up. Like, quick fun fact, when I was in Chicago, hey, special mention again from Chicago. When I was in Chicago, doing the fucking, what they call it, the polar vortex, winter vortex, whatever, what have you. This is around the same time Jesse was out there talking about he was going to get him a sandwich and he got banged upside the head and all some more stuff, right? I was trying to take me a shower. They were fighting for my life in the shower. It was so daggone cold. I had nothing but hot water on and it was still just cold. Cold! So, now, imagine how motherfucker, I ain't gonna start that early with it. Imagine how pissed I was getting out of the shower, immediately seeing a notification ping up on my phone talking about Jussie Smollett says he was assaulted going to Subway. I said, bitch, I know you fucking lying to me. Why you got your ass out here in this goddamn cold talking about some Subway? I couldn't even focus on his well-being because I was just so goddamn thrown that you was out in this. Baby, I can't even get a shower in good and you out talking about some Subway. Now, if I ain't mistaken, he from Chicago or somewhere where it be like real cold and stuff like that, you know, for the most part, normally or whatever. But I don't care Nathaniel about it. He's still crazy as hell having his goddamn ass outside talking about some Subway in this cold like this. Child. But that's a whole nother story. That's just based on, like, now, we not finna get into my thoughts and opinions on the whole thing or what he had going on with it and all of that. Okay, that was just an experience I had being met with the story as I was fighting for my life during the Chicago winter and how extremely cold temperatures make me mad. But I digress. Now, Bernie gets to the point where he is done for with the bull crap. He and them kids over in the other room, hollering and carrying on, doing the most like they doing. Now, they over here arguing about checkers. Who's supposed to go first playing the checkers? Baby, just play the game. Somebody go and get it done for. But nah, y'all don't want to play the game. Y'all want to fight. Y'all want to fight. Now, that being said, too, there's going to be some other things that come up in here that gave me the inspiration to want to do a video specifically speaking on the dynamics of Jordan and Brianna, baby girl, because this particular scene right here in particular is really quick, right? It's really quick. But this scene speaks measures about a lot of different things in this show overall, amongst Jordan and baby girl's dynamic specifically. And it says a lot about where they're coming from. And I'm gonna make it make sense some in this video, but just know it's a video coming that's gonna specifically be unpacking Jordan and Brianna's dynamic and the stories that are within it. Now, like I said, they up here arguing about who gonna go first playing the game. Okay? And in the midst, Bernie's trying to referee. He like, look, y'all need to play quietly. Y'all need to play quietly. Okay, do whatever you're gonna do. If you got to argue, whatever it is, can you please do it quietly? Baby girl talking about, you wanna play with us, Uncle Bernie? He said, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This show does a really great job at showing kids being kids in the annoying ways that they do. Even like when they ain't even like trying to be annoying for real, they just busy, and you trying to get them to focus on one thing, and they got all these other list of things that they got to do and they got to talk about, and and then accompanying that with the fact that it's a heat wave going on. He already hot, don't want to be bothered, just want to chill. Amongst the fact this still first season, they're still getting used to having extra people in the house, let alone these kids. You know what I'm saying? So it's really depicted very well in this one scene alone. The pressure, like the intensity, the stakes that Bernie is up against. Because I swear, the way I was fighting for my life in that cold ass shower, Bernie is fighting for his life in this simple interaction, trying to get them to understand just, hey, just quiet down some. And Brianna want them to play with, Brianna want him to play with them. Talking about, you want to chase me? You want to chase us? He said, nah, I ain't gonna chase nothing. Jordan blowing in his face, talking about, I cool you off. About to make this man eyes pop out his head. But he finally get them to the point of whispering their argument. And he gets back to his confessional spot and his man den. Saying that he mocking him as he get ready to do his he get ready to read his newspaper. And he mocking them talking about, can't you play with me? I entertain adults. We ain't not become an entertainer for kids. Entertainer for them. Somebody cheering ain't allowed at his show. I mean, you know, it be like this sometimes. So yeah, he started trying to get into his little you know, what you do, his routine. Get back into his routine, get back into his chill state, all that good stuff. But it's all funny because he can't even get into it like somehow because he's still tormented by the echo of the memory of what he just experienced with them kids. So he flashed to him in the kitchen with Wanda. And looked like she came in with some bags or something. I don't know. Yeah, they unbagging stuff. And she was like, you should schedule something. He said, I did schedule something. 10 o'clock, leave me alone. 11 o'clock, leave me alone. 12 o'clock, I make my lunch. Then, leave me alone. And Wanda like, no, you agreed to this. Like, it wouldn't be too much for you to just go ahead and go out of your way to spend some extra time with them, make it fun. And Bernie is really just stuck on the fact that it's too damn hot for all that. And he's like, shit, it's 3 of them. They can play with each other. Yes, of course, they can play with each other. However, they seem to be expressing a desire to spend some time with you. And I find this interesting because I feel like it reminds me of some times when I was a child, and even at certain points, me being an adult, because I have a childlike nature about myself that I everlastingly maintain. But yeah, it would be adults that, like, I guess probably I wouldn't know exactly how to communicate it, or I'm not really one to be like, hey, come play with me, or no shit like that. Like, I ain't never been that kid, but I would just go up to certain adults and just bring them into whatever I was doing. And sometimes, you know, they'll immediately engage. And then sometimes they have like, you know, kind of Bernie-esque responses. And it's definitely giving. So I'll pinpoint that the deeper that we get into the show. But what I'm gonna say to this here is a lot of people, like, they be seeing when kids are doing certain stuff like this, like they see this kids just being annoying, or they just trying to get on your nerves, or they just being bad and all this other stuff. But no, like, why do so many adults dehumanize children like that? Dehumanize children in such a way to not realize that, okay, yeah, it's kind of similar to animals, in which as human beings we are part animal. And so like children don't have the language to communicate everything that they feel, or to communicate it in the ways that certain adults would understand based on the communication that they have gotten habilitated to in their adulthood, you know. This is why it pays and goes a long way, not only to maintain your sense of childlike energy, but also to remain sensitive. Not hypersensitive, but sensitive. Because it have you be like emotionally in tune, emotionally intelligent, for you to be able to better perceive when children, or even people in general, are not out to get you, or they're not just trying to annoy you, they're not just trying to irritate you. They're trying to engage with you, and they just don't have the language to communicate it in the way that you understand. You know, they just don't speak the same language as you. And another part of that is like Bernie's mindset here amongst certain people who will have this type of mindset. They're thinking often like that, like the kids don't like them, like because of the kids may not be doing exactly everything that they tell them to do exactly as they tell them to do it, and or the kids may not respond to every little thing exactly how they expect them to respond to it, and so they equate that to the kids are bad or the kids don't fuck with me. And you end up missing the fact that the kids are trying to fuck with you, like not in the way to like fuck with you, make you mad. The kids are trying to engage with you. They're trying to get to know you. They're trying to form a bond with you, and you keep running away from it because they're not speaking the language that you exactly want them to speak. And so as they're having that exchange, Jordan runs in the midst of yelling at Brianna to stop following him. But he runs in yelling about Splash Canyon. He want to go to Splash Canyon. It's a water park, a real popular water park. And so they all excited and whatnot. Baby girl is excited and they want to go. Bernie is reluctant, but he don't get to say nothing yet because Wanda pipe up and she's like, oh, well, I think that's a great idea, Bernie. I mean, you want the kids to entertain themselves. They be able to perfectly do that at Splash Canyon. Ain't that what you wanted? So she slides on out. And Bernie talking about, she think she's slick. All in his confessional talking about Wanda thinks she's slick. But he want to try to beat her at the own game. Okay? Bye. Taking them to Splash Canyon, but finding any reason to get them to turn around and go back to the house. A mess. So this is his way to get them out of it so that he don't have to feel guilty. Because think about it. They're going to be out there playing in the water, doing the slides, all of the things. Bernie ain't really that type of cat. Okay? For one, if he do some water type stuff, he seems like he want to be in a pool, an exclusive pool, where there is some good shade, and he can have him a little drink in his own space, and all of that good stuff. He not trying to be out there in that heat, dealing with them lines, other folks' kids running around and carrying on, all this, that, and the third, trying to keep up with the kids that he got there, because you know, they hijinky and be getting out into all types of everything. Everything. So, I mean, I kind of don't blame him. But, Bernie, why you ain't in a pool? Where your pool at? Why you go just go get them a pool and let them be? And then, yeah, you put them outside, put them in the backyard, put them in the pool, get the sprinklers back there and all that good stuff. And then they be out there doing what they do. You be in the house, you can walk in and out, you know, check on them and this and that, engage in the water play and stuff like that. But see, another aspect of this is Bernie is not only disconnected from his inner child on some shit. And so it's an interesting thing, too, because I'm going to tie it up together. I'm going to say one thing, and then I'm going to kind of contradict what I'm saying here. So Bernie is not only disconnected from his inner child, but he's also disconnected from his roots as well. Because him having been a celebrity and, you know, so very well accommodated by way of his money and access that his celebrity and stuff gives him, it's not occurring to him the way that he can make this work, like talking about, without having to do all of the trickery, dickery, dot. Because it's like he's caught up between this juxtaposition of his, I gotta speak spiritually. Y'all know this is also a spiritual channel, so let's get it, right? His sacral chakra is all out of whack. His inner child, the way that he is still in tune with his inner child, is through his sacral, because his sacral is attached to his career. He's an entertainer. Amongst the fact that a part of his entertainment is also connected to the solar plexus, because his form of entertainment that he does is specifically comedy. So he makes people laugh. That's associated with the solar plexus. Now, because his work, his root chakra, has been excessively wrapped up with, the work of his entertainment, or you could say his sacral and his solar plexus has been excessively wrapped up in the root chakra because it's now work for him. His inner child is now an employee. Like, his inner child is now a slave on some shit. So take it back to what he said in his confessional after the interaction with baby girl and Jordan. He was triggered by them asking, for him to play with them. He was very triggered by that because that language to him interprets as work. Asking him to play with you, asking him to make you laugh, asking him to entertain you is asking him to work. He doesn't hear and see it as fun. He hears and sees it as work. Much like, we're going to tie that too, of him feeling like he has to go through these whole hijinky type thing in order to not feel guilty. A part of that is like publicity, because in his chain of work, especially back during this time period that this is set in, and before, like PR stuff amongst us, kind of like a theme in this show as well. PR stuff is like really heavy, right? So he didn't feel like, even in his intimate interactions with his family and casually and this and that, he doesn't feel comfortable just saying no when being asked to entertain or do something fun, because he has it in his mind and his training from his career that if he says no to being asked to entertain, then not only may he feel guilty, but he may lose access to something. And in this case, I feel like what he would be afraid of losing access to would be, for one, the kids in a physical sense. Wanda, also in a different type of physical sense. You picking up what I'm putting down, okay? Right? But also, remember what I said about Bernie's mindset and it being wrapped around, to an extent, being liked, whether the children like him or not. So that being said and pinpointed amongst this episode, but also the show, this season in particular, Bernie isn't just having a hard time or, a challenging time adjusting to the kids being in his house. He really wants them to like him. As much as he be acting and all of that, he really wants them to like him. And honestly, not only is that, it's a part of human nature, but also it's a part of his being as an entertainer. As entertainers, it's a major challenge to balance out the need to be valued versus feeling an intense need to be liked. So yeah, Bernie said he gonna take them, but if anybody sneeze wrong, they going back home. Cough, going back home. Stumble over your foot a little bit, going back home. You wore red and you should have chose green, going back home. So now they get in the car and they're ready to go, but not everybody else is really on the same type of time, because they done found themselves in some hellacious traffic. I'm talking about stuck. It's giving Atlanta. Now, y'all know the kids is on the back seat, and y'all know they restless in this traffic. Okay? And they ain't got the, the maturity and wisdom of emotional regulation, being stuck in a situation that is annoying. So, what does Jordan in particular start doing? He gotta find somewhere to put his energy. He starts reading off the signs, annoyingly. Reading off all the billboards and signs and all of that. He comes across one that's talking about some women, topless women or something like that. Yeah, live nude girls. He's very amused by that. So Bernie wants to take advantage of that, talking about read another sign. Read another sign, I'm going to turn this car around. So Nessa back there, she got the window down. He said, Nessa, put the window down for. Nessa, put the window down for. We got the air conditioner on, you got the window down. Let the window up so I turn this car around. Wanda said, Bernie, baby, leave the kids alone. You're just making excuses. He's talking about, I ain't making no excuses. Baby girl said, we're going to see the Little Mermaid. Nah, baby girl, ain't no Little Mermaid going to be there. We ain't going to see no Little Mermaid. She said, I want to see the Little Mermaid. Well, honey, we ain't going to SeaWorld nor Disney. But I do got the Little Mermaid on VHS if you want me to turn the car around and we gonna watch it at home. That man, so now Wanda intervened and said, look, don't listen to your Uncle Bernie, okay? Y'all want sticky chews? She put out some sticky chews. They like these, like some sugar daddies type of shit. The caramel candy or something stick. Yeah. So, get him that baby girl, typical toddler shit. She dropped her and started crying. Now, Jordan, typical Jordan, the annoying ass boy type shit. Got to get all up in her face, eating his, being irritating, digging a knife into her and all that shit. And so, baby girl basically make him lose his, and where he lost it was upside Wanda's head. Now it's stuck in her hair. Now, they gonna turn the car around because Wanda said y'all got her fucked up. She spent $150 to get her hair done. Just got it done. Just got y'all some candy trying to be nice, so y'all bring y'all out the house and get y'all to doing some stuff. And you gonna sit up here and get the stuff up in my head. Bernie, turn the car around. He said, baby, ain't no that. She said, you better turn the car around. Should have known. Should have known. Done messed up a black woman's hair. Now it's officially over with. Now, realistically speaking, there was no way for them to get up out of that traffic. But you messed up a black woman's hair, and that black man had to find a way. So, of course, we get a Bernie Mac confessional, and he is excited and delighted, honey. He said he gonna get back there, sit on down, watch his DVDs and his cool AC. Oh, okay. He thought, thunk, but ain't think too far, because the AC, boom, went out just like that. Tick. We then transition to him at the thermostat trying to figure out what's going on. Wanda walks in. He said, baby, we got an emergency. She said, I know. I got to speak at you in my head. But Ernesto said he can work me in today. So deep breaths and we're going. So she finna go get her hair redone. Bernie is like, oh no, you finna leave me here at this house with these kids alone? It's hot like this? She said, well, you wanted to chill. You go ahead, chill. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, 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 mm. So we pick back up in the confessional where Bernie Mac is talking about, you know, he should have known because black women's hair take priority over everything. Everything. He said he couldn't even get it in on his honeymoon how he wanted to because she had to keep her hair straight and had to take it to the salon first thing in the morning. Already. But I ain't gonna lie, that's a bit much. But hey, the historical context of it all, I do understand. The historical context amongst where she work and the job that she do, yup, yeah, understand. Unfortunate though, understandable. Now, we pop back up in the kitchen with Bernie, and Nessa and Jordan come in there talking about they want a popsicle. He said, look, here you go, water popsicle, handle some ice. He said, y'all on punishment. You're not getting no damn popsicle. I ain't doing none of this. Y'all on punishment. Go be on punishment in your room, okay? It's called punishment, not punishment. Up out my face. Swally spit. Just disrespectful. So, next, the AC man pull up, okay? AC man pull up. He looking at everything. He looking at the big old mansion of it all, okay? He looking at Bernie, looking at his clothes, looking at everything he got. He tallying up some tactics and things up in his head, okay? Double, tripling, quadrupling estimates and whatnot. Playing games. And I'm going to talk more intentionally on the games that he come up here playing as we get into the rest of the episode. But as we go through, Bernie showing him around and whatnot, showing him, you know, the amenities and such that he has, specifically for him to know where stuff is so he can do his job properly. But this man is taking it in as, you know, how he can rack up his price and fill his own pockets. You know what I'm saying? So now, they wrap up this interaction. Bernie Mac take it on into the house. Look at the thermostat. He see that temperature steady going up. It's on 88 at this very moment. So, back at the ranch in his den, he got the fans blasting. Okay, so he's ready to get back into the swing of his things once again. Get his zen going, okay? His yin and yang energy flowing and growing. But then, we hear Jordan talking about ow, please don't. Bernie say now it's time to go kick him in their yin and yang. But if he already saying ow, then why you gonna kick him again? But y'all, anyway, get into the room. Baby girl is jumping up on the bed. We don't see Jordan nowhere, but we do steady hear him saying ow, ow, ow. So Bernie looks on over to the side of the couch, and this bed that they have in their room is I think it's a day bed. I don't think it's a pull out bed from like a couch. It looked like a day bed to me from the angles which I'm seeing it. It looked like an adjustable day bed, like one that has another bed that pulls out from under it or something. That's what I think. But anyway, he looks on the side of the day bed and sees Jordan over there, like basically caught between the wall and the day bed. And every time Brianna jumps, he is getting banged all up against the wall and carrying on. That's why he yelling out, because baby girl is literally killing him. But just to give her a little grace, I don't know if I could blame him. Not saying, you know, I don't condone, you know, the word that I use. I don't condone that. What I'm saying is, it makes sense that baby girl was fuckless about him being over there like that, because he been terrorizing her the whole episode. And he's always going out of his way to pick at her and get on her nerves. So, well, yeah, have the day you deserve. Just like in the car. He was all up in her face with that sticky chew doing the most. And so, she knocked it out of his hand. And now look, you ain't got one no more. And we ain't going to Splash World. Now, stop doing what you're doing to make her angry. But also, in all seriousness, baby girl, don't straight up unalive him. Get your lick back if you must. But let him live to see another day and tell the story about it, okay? He got to let people know that you're not one to fuck with. Yes, he got to let people know that you not one to fuck with. See how they work? Let him live to tell the story. But yeah, child, we saved Jordan from baby girl. And now Bernie got him all lined up. He gave Jordan some frozen peas or something to put on his head. And now he got to fuss at him, tell him to sit there, think about what they done, okay? So he had him to sit on the floor, talking about heat rises to the top, stay on the floor to stay cool. Then Nelson said, but you told us that we need to stay on the bed. Bernie said, look, the more I sweat, the more it's worse for you. He's so damn hot, he don't even know what the fuck going on. He's just trying to do and say whatever it is to get him to the next point of his yin, his yin and yang. Now we get back to his confessional where he's talking about basically the kids is making him hot on the inside. And it's just messing him all up in correlation with what's going on the outside. He got to think cool thoughts, okay? Something must be done to regulate the climate of all of the things. And just as we get into all of that, he gets up, he got to go check the thermostat once again. It was just 88. Now it's at 89. Right as he looking at it, it goes to 90. He walks on outside to see what is going on. And Nathaniel is going on because the AC man is in his truck having himself a sandwich. Honey. And as Bernie gets onto his ass about the negligence that he got going on, he starts side storying and woe is me and oh, you think I'm a part of the Russian mafia and all this other mess. And so Bernie got a heart, you know what I'm saying? Bernie got a heart. He also know what it's like to be discriminated against. He also know what it's like to be out here in this heat and people giving you a hard time and all that good stuff. He got humility, you know what I'm saying? So he started offering him a lemonade. He tell him, enjoy your break. You know what I'm talking about? Get all the fuel that you need and everything so you can come back and do your thing in the best way that you possibly can, my dude, my G, my guy. Now, mind you, he offered him lemonade and the boy was like iced tea. Now, granted, hey, ask for what you want, right? Okay? You may have not because you ask not. You got to be brave to ask. Also, that was a red flag. It's the way he said it. It's the manner of which he went about getting to that point. So, Bernie take it on back into the house. And he hears some more shenanigans going on. Some splashing, some laughing, some having of the fun. My God, today. So, Nessa having a water girl fight in Bernie's bathroom, his master bedroom bathroom. Now, granted, at least they took it in the bathroom. At least they took it in the bathroom. Jordan is in the shower, baby girl is in the tub part, and Nessa is standing in the open space, and they all just in there throwing water balloons, specifically at Jordan, though. And I love the creativity, to be honest. It's just one issue. They supposed to be on punishment. So they ain't supposed to be having no fun. My thing is, though, why all of them on punishment? Jordan should be the only one that's on punishment, to be honest. Because it's really all Jordan's fault. But of course, Bernie is grouping them all together because he just don't want to deal with none of them. That's hell. That is really hell. But y'all, he gets up there, he go to fussing at him, and they like, we punishing Jordan for you. Aren't you happy? So he said, look, no, y'all supposed to be on punishment. Y'all need to clean this up right now, get back to your room. And Nessa starts talking about it's like a prison in there. He said, oh, you think it's like a prison, huh? Well, I got news for you. It ain't. Because in prison, there's hope. Well, that, sir, is very depressing. And there's a concept of punishment here, right? And it's so funny too, because they be writing words on the screen as the show goes through. So when they first turned the car around from the sticky chew getting in Wanda's head, and he like, off in a zen how I listen to this good AC, and then the AC went out straight up like that. So I feel like every time Bernie is unfair to them kids, the universe punishes him with the heat. Because you got to also think about, and again, it's a spiritual channel, and art is spiritual, and that's what we talk about over here. That's the correlations that we make. So yeah, it's a perfect time to make one. I haven't found, a whole lot of straight up spiritual correlations, besides perhaps the church episode. But so yeah, the sun, if you think of the sun, in a lot of spiritualities, the sun is considered a deity. The deity Ra, which is an Egyptian deity, Ra is associated with the sun, is said to be the sun. Okay, other deities and archangels, spirit guides, things of that nature, spiritual beings that are talked about in mythologies and different spiritualities and whatnot. A lot of the ones that are associated with justice specifically are of the air, wind element, as well as the heat, fire, and or sun element. The heat element specifically has to do with healing justice by shedding light on all of the necessary truths amongst burning out what needs to be burned out. So you can think of it as extraction amongst ashing away everything that needs to just be gone and officially dissolved in order for everybody else to move forward appropriately and have, this officiality of a sense of healing. Now, all that being said, like I said, every time Bernie does or says something unfair to the kids, the temperature goes up one way or another, be it through the AC going out or literally that temperature going up or something else that's about to happen. And before we get to that specificity, Bernie turns around after looking at the thermostat and whatnot. He then turns around and decides, I guess, that he needs to, lay the punishment on thick some more off the backs of them just being in there having a balloon fight in his room. So, after they got it all cleaned up and whatnot, he go in the room, he taking all of their amenities. Now, if you know what I know, he know that this is not making it no better. Because it's hot as fuck. They're clearly motivated by the heat, and you're taking away every other distraction that they would have from you and or being creative in some other type of way. Right? So he's taking the dogs, he's taking the video games, he's taking the phone, all of that good stuff. And so, rightfully so, they are irritated. Now, granted, they've been kind of doing the most. The water balloon fight in the bathroom after all of that they just had going on was definitely, you know, them doing too much. But he also not making it no better, right? So in the midst of him doing this though, the AC comes on. So Jordan says, since the AC came back on and it's not hot no more, do we still have to be on punishment? So Bernie snaps at him and says, it means you can't complain about it being hot. So we pop back up in his confessional, right? He's taking it all in, taking in sighs of joy, all that good stuff, right? He then walks outside for a sec, gets back on up to the door, and it is locked. Boom, TikTok. So remember what I just said, right? Every time he does something unfair to them kids, the temperature goes up. So now, AC's back on. Yo ass outside. Nature does not knock, nor does it intrude. Unfortunate for him. So now there's a whole thing going on right at this point. So Jordan and Nessa is at the door and they negotiating with her. And they like, so if we open the door, is we still on punishment? He said, yeah, y'all still on punishment. Open this door. See? You attract more bees with honey. Ain't that what the saying is or something like that? Which I find kind of weird because bees sting. But anyway, you know, we need the bees. So there's that. Anyway, he's standing up there knocking because Jordan and Nessa said, fuck you. You said fuck us? Well, fuck you. So now he got to strategize. And they on their strategy as with. Now when you live in a house like this, it's a billion ways to get in and it's a billion ways to get out. And that is both a blessing and a curse. And here we get the title label on the episode, punishment. And this time, the confessional is Bernie sitting outside on a lawn chair. And we see Jordan running, doing whatever it is that he's doing, horse playing or something in the background throughout the house. A mess. So Bernie sit down. He like, can y'all believe it? Lock me out my own house. Man's home supposed to be his castle. You don't lock a king out his castle. Well, here's the thing, king. You was acting a goddamn fool. So maybe folks was confused. Tisk. But he's talking about he gonna throw the kids in the dungeon. So he is on his big one, plotting on what he gonna do when he get in there. Thing is, you can tell by the look on his face and his body language that he really ain't even got the energy to even be trying to think real good on how he gonna get back in there. But he is determined. So we see him all around the house, all around the windows. He yelling at Jordan, talking about, I'm gonna choke you in front of the police. Yeah, you, right there. So Jordan's like, how long we gonna keep him out there? Nessa said, we already in trouble, so we might as well just ward him off as long as we can. And she sipped her drink in his face. So Bernie has a light bulb moment, runs around the house. Nessa then has a light bulb moment, and it's like, patio door. Rushes to the door, locks that one. Soon as Bernie gets round there, you got to be quicker than that, my dude. Got to be quicker than that. Baby girl had her own light bulb moment, headed on over to the fridge to get some ice cream. Can't say I blame her. So, remember what I said about a home like this having many exits and entrances. So, it's a race to get to all of them, and they is racing, honey. And the kids is beating him to all the windows, all the doors, all the holes in the wall. He want to unlock some of them windows. He want to walk through some of them doors. But to no avail. He getting a whole workout in for little to no reason. Heads back on over to his outdoor confessional and admits that he underestimated them. But he say, shit, they underestimated him too. He married. Been locked out before. Okay? He know he ain't always been so easy to live with. So, them times taught him a few tricks. And see, this is also him trying to talk himself up because he acquired a little injury in the midst of all his running. So, we see him creeping, sneaking, and deaking on alongside the house. He said, Wanda, got a little Wanda up over the sink. Likes to keep it open so you can smell the hydrangeas. Yeah, it's open all right. For him to get a mouthful of water as soon as he attempts his pursuit. He lifted on up over there to that window and got sprayed right in the mouth by Nelson and Jordan. Tis-gee-dee. And they closed the window in his face. Hey, at least they cooled him off a bit first. Okay, they didn't just totally leave him high and dry. No pun intended. So he had his outdoor confessional. He's talking himself back up again, talking himself back up real smooth. However, it's a different type of energy once we get on back over to one of these other windows of the house. And he's talking about, Nelson, come on, I'm tired. Let me in. Look, please. So they start imitating him through the window with pretzels and whatnot. They all up in his office going through his stuff and using his stuff to make fun of him in his face. And he's so bothered, he just started yelling, that's my chair. And Nessa closed the window in his face. So your boy is in a state of defeat, just laid out in front of the house on the ground. thinking that he having a sunstroke or something. He just out here, just dazed, confused, worn out, tired and through, right? So he started just talking to himself like he's talking to God and all that good stuff. And suddenly he has an epiphany, okay? The spare key. Then we flash back to Nessa and Jordan in the office, and we see Bernie staring at them through the window with them big old eyes of his. I want to make something clear too. I know Bernie Mac had Graves' disease. So when I'm referencing stuff about his eyes, I'm not talking about the symptoms of that sometimes will show up. I'm not talking about that at all. When I'm referencing his eyes, I'm talking about the naturality of how he be bucking his eyes and the way that he's used his eyes to perform. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. But yeah, so he get him the eyes through the window as they sitting at his computer trying to delete all his files. Nelsa peeps what he peeped, and it's like, oh shoot, this spare key. So they all rushing around. She sent baby girl out there to try to get the key from up under the mat. Baby girl gets the key, but then Bernie gets baby girl. Got to be more careful. So of course, Jordan and Nessa got to have a commiseration about whether or not they gonna try to save her, and if they do, what they gonna do? So Nessa basically ends up making an executive decision that, honey, she just gonna have to stay up out there. Child, it is what it is. Okay, it's hard in a swag. I was fair in love and war, or something like that. So then we pan back over to Bernie Mac and baby girl. So baby girl is rightfully feeling neglected and abandoned, even though she don't know the word to use, but Bernie used it for her. She like, what that mean? And he said, that mean they left you out here high and dry like a stranger. So now you got to be on my side. And low-key, high-key, no pun intended, this is how baby girl becomes a secret weapon. Or you could say it becomes even more apparent of how she is a secret weapon in general, and specifically to this case. So as Bernie is talking to her, kind of giving her this welcoming speech and such about how they're a team now, he peeps that the door has been left a little cracked open. So he like, hey, let's go get him. So they head on over, looking to take advantage of the opportunity, and boom, tick-tock, the door's open, and the water is a shooing all upside his head, all upside his chest, all upside his belly, all upside his thighs and carrying on. They done soaked your boy straight up, baptized. That good old Bernie Mac boy. That good old Bernie Mac just got him a real good baptism right on his own lawn. And now, it's really on. That's what he said. It's really on, okay? So once again, baby girl becomes a secret weapon. And she is sent to the front door this time. And she talking about, please, Bernie's hurt. They like, you lying, won't believe that, da. And so, she lay it on thick, she convincing and all that good stuff. But they come out prepared. They got water balloons, all types of carrying on, honey. But guess what? They've been quick this whole time, but they still got to be quicker than that. Because the good old Bernie Mac comes round the corner, shooing with the water hose, all upside their head, all upside their chest, all upside their little bellies and their legs, and all types of carrying on. And now, it's a whole water war. Water wars! And in the midst, Wanda comes home. What wonderful timing she has, right? Wanda comes home with her fresh hairdo, and she said, look, y'all better chill out, I just got my hair redone. I'm not fixing to do this with y'all. But Bernie said, we doing it with you. So they started getting her with the water. Now, I like how they was they were low-key, high-key, doing well to avoid her hair, but they was getting her, boy. They was getting her. Now they all into it, child. And now it's officially what they call punishment. And so we get a cute montage of all the fun that they're having, and it cycles us on back to Bernie's final confessional for the episode, where he talks about how much fun that was and how glad he is that, everything flowed the way it flowed. Howsoever, them kids is still on punishment. Because when he say open the door, that's what he mean. Now, for my official final thoughts on the things, which it's not going to take too much because I did a lot of talking on the front end. So, on the back end, definitely aligned up to both Bernie and Wanda to some degree, needing to get back in touch with their inner children and needing to get back in touch with their roots. Because even in the series of things that happened once Nessa locked him out, right? It took him a little minute to think about the ins and outs of his house. That lets you know he hasn't been really taking up space and really living in his house for real. So it's like it took this instance to kind of force him to revisit even around his own home that he's been living in. And so it took the kids being hijinky as they are, bored, restless, amped up by the heat and all of that good stuff, amongst him being a butt and taking all of their other toys and things that they have to keep themselves busy and distracted with, and whatever, what have you. And so they gave him a run for his money in more ways than one, literally a run for his money, and showed him what his money could do. And I think that's cool as hell how they played that too, because My Wife and Kids is a show that usually does this type of thing, as well as certain parts of this episode reminded me of Malcolm in the Middle. And that's another show that kind of does that hijinky communication thing between the adults and the children. And Bernie Mac show doesn't do it consistently, but they did it real strong and real consistent in this episode. And I feel like the way they did it was so unique. It was so cool. And it was fun. Like, it was genuinely fun to watch. And it was genuinely fun to review. That's it too. You may notice that my sound quality and such, certain things change throughout the review. Now, the way that I do my edits and whatnot, you may not even be able to really tell, like, talking about. However, I've been committing to my processes in a whole nother way, to where, like, when things and people start getting fucklessly distracting and obnoxious and shit, when I start trying to do my videos, I have stopped adjusting myself, and instead just steady, like, zoning in on doing what I'm doing unconditionally, even if I have to walk the block while I'm doing a video, even if I have to take off for a second because people are just being ruthlessly obnoxious and whatnot, and if I got to go pick up some food real quick just to get some form of quiet or respect to my recording process and such. So I say all of that, to offer some behind the scenes info amongst some explanation as to, one, why there have been so many gaps in between my videos at times, as well as why certain things about the sound quality and stuff like that may fluctuate throughout certain videos that I do and certain times that I do videos. And it's because, literally, in a spiritual sense, even for a while, I've been windmilling gnats and mosquitoes, and I ain't even talking about the actual ones outside. I'm talking about the people. I'm talking about people who seem to have the animal totems of gnats, mosquitoes, and flies. So yeah, a part of my warding off that energy is unconditionally committing to my processes and being the son that I am, and not adjusting for other motherfuckers. You gonna keep getting loud, I'm gonna get loud. You gonna keep coming in my space, and I said don't come in my space. I'm going to leave the space. You won't have no light. It's gonna be dark where you at, okay? You could be around me while I'm doing what I'm doing and shut up, or you won't be around me at all while I'm doing what I'm doing. You feel me? So yeah, just just some brief background, behind the scenes information. See, like how I'm finna, sir. Out. No, run. No. So sorry. See, stuff like that too. Shout out to my dog. I love him dearly. Also, him and the other obnoxious beings of his kind, they have to get out of the way while I'm doing my recordings. And y'all just got to witness it for yourself. I just picked him up politely and placed him outside the door. That's all. Because I'm sick of it. And I may do a whole, like, story time video to go more in depth, just to, I guess, kind of like form a deeper bond with y'all, let y'all know a little more about me and how I be processing my processes and all of the things and whatnot. Not too much, but just give you an extra little taste, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Any more thoughts on the episode specifically? So, the wrap-up scene of the episode, Barney has to go get his bill from the AC man. And the AC man, they ain't even let us see the price. But he was like, he take cash, card, credit, all of it. And Bernie was like, he gonna pay in cash. Then he looked at the bill, and he looked at that man like he wanted to chicken choke him. And he said, you said he take Visa. So that let us know right there that the AC man also felt the need to give Bernie a run for his money. Just disrespectful. And Bernie well accommodated him too. Well accommodated him, gave him sweet tea with 2 sugars and let him eat and all types of carrying on. He was finna give him a bag of lemons and some more stuff. See, Now, I'm not sure exactly what the symbolism is with that, besides this thing that people tend to do, but I know it's with parents a lot. They'll be yelling at the kids and all this and that and the third and da. But then they feel this innate obligation. I ain't gonna say innate, but they feel this muscle memory obligation to perform politeness and hospitality to strangers while they're treating their family members like strangers or worse than strangers. So I'm thinking that could be a part of it, something that is loosely being communicated there. I'm gonna have to like really think and ponder on that aspect, and that just might become a whole nother video. But for the most part, it was like something else just to get on Bernie's nerves. But the way that these episodes and whatnot are so calculated, I know that it's not just that. I know that he's not just there for laughs. It has to be something else. But I'm gonna have to, do some more evaluating and analyzing on that particular aspect. But yeah, child, that man was completely and totally, utterly out of line, and Bernie Mac took his lemons back, as he should have. And to touch on certain other things that went on throughout the antics of the whole like war of it all, right? So again, there's a concept that I spoke on with Baby Girl and Jordan closer to the beginning of the episode, and that evolved and showed itself amongst the episode in its entirety. Because, like I said, Jordan is often doing provocative things towards Baby Girl, and then he whine and cry like a baby when she finally get her lick back. And so, this is not to say that Bernie is always wrong. However, in this particular episode, we got to see a whole nother like angle in a way that allowed to show even clearer that Bernie is still human. Okay, in the way that just because he's the parent and in the parent position and all this other stuff, it doesn't mean that he's always right. His feelings can be very much so valid, but it doesn't mean that he's always right, nor even if he's right, does it mean that someone should be punished because of it. And so the happenings of this episode allowed for cause and effect type shit to be shown. I would even say karmic type shit to be shown, because remember, karma is not a punishment system. It is simply your shit catching up to you. And a lot of Bernie shit caught up to him in this episode. Like, it was a whole theme of Bernie shit catching up to him. And thinking about it too and saying that, I feel like that's another layer of his dynamic with the AC guy. The AC guy was another form of his shit catching up to him. And this is specifically as the concept of when I said he's acting like a fool. He's like, kings don't get put out their own castle. And I was like, well, he was acting like a fool, so they're probably confused. You acting a fool. You acting like a child. You're acting like an animal. You're acting like someone with an impoverished mindset. And look at where it got you. If you don't like where you are, stop taking yourself there. If you want these kids to raise to a higher occasion, give them something to look up to. Because the example you're leading is one of a petulant big ass child. And when you act like a petulant big ass child in such the way as an adult, you have to then spend money for it. And that's the difference between being childlike and being childish. Bernie had several opportunities in this episode amongst, throughout his whole process of becoming a new parent, right? But he had multiple opportunities throughout this whole episode to embrace his childlike energy, to embrace his inner child in a healthy and fun sense. And his resistance and his own pig-headedness, bullheadedness, and stubbornness and all of that, and him wanting to have his way, led him to falling into the functionality of being childish, of being a badass, petulant child. Got to be more careful. Got to be more careful. And all the while, I agree that they should still be on punishment because they were cutting up. Like, when it first started off, okay, Jordan and Baby Girl was being annoying, okay. Then once it got to the car, and that was Jordan's fault. Because Jordan was going out of his way to be a nuisance. And this led everybody to their breaking point. And the sticky stuff in Wanda's hair, amongst that, and especially that, and them having to head back to the house. So, in actuality, Jordan was the only one that should have been punished initially. Okay? Then, once it progresses and they get back to the house and all of this other stuff is going on, then Baby Girl low-key high-key should have been on punishment for doing what she was doing to Jordan. Even though I feel like it's understandable that she got her lick back and how she got her lick back and why and all that good stuff, she shouldn't have been doing that, and I would have reprimanded her for that, because you have to teach people conflict resolution, and eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and all of that shit is really not conducive. It's not productive for real. It's not good. But so yeah. Because, for instance, too, now I don't know what could have happened that quick in the moment, because he could have been doing something else. But like when they were in the car and he was messing with her, he was all up in her face. It made sense for her to reaction to like be to swat him and his hand and all of that out of her face, and whatever happened as a result, that's literally the shit that he did that caught up with him. That's his shit catching up with him, and it also landed in Wanda's hair. Okay, but in this instant where like they in the room and all that stuff, again, if he was in her face and doing stuff to her immediately, and she had an immediate reaction to get back at him, and even the ongoingness of it, I can understand her plotting on him. However, somebody has to stop it. Somebody has to stop the cycle. That's why Jordan should have been the only one punished initially. That's why. Because when one person keeps doing stuff, especially if it keeps causing a domino effect like that, and you just keep grouping everybody in together, it just keeps happening and it just keeps getting worse. And sooner or later, everybody is the villain because now everybody is just trying to get at each other. And so yeah, but fast forward, and once they started having a balloon fight in the bathroom, then yeah, all of them should have been punished for that. Cause bro, what y'all doing? Y'all know y'all already like skating on thin ice, walking on eggshells, all this stuff. Y'all already know that. Why are y'all in this man's bathroom doing this? But I know their mindset, hey, at least we in the bathroom, and you know, this and that. They trying to get what they want. They trying to make some shake. They got to get what they want. Da, da, da. But still, y'all know y'all wrong because stop, like chill out. If you chill out for a minute, then you might get what you want. But you keep, just like Bernie was having to learn, you keep trying to use the same method to get a different response. And kids do be like that. Bruh, I said not now. It doesn't mean not ever. But it makes sense for kids to have that mindset. It makes sense for kids to act like that. It makes sense for kids to have that functionality. You see? But yeah, so the episode officially wraps up with his interaction with the AC guy. But I think the day itself, in actuality, in real time of the episode, the stuff that we don't see, the day ends in his confessional. The reason why I say that is because when Bernie's in his final confessional and he makes the statement about when he say open the door, you open the door, you hear in the background a door lock. And he gets up to try to go check the door, and the door to his office is now locked. They unlocked him in his office. So it's giving Bernie is about to have to learn how to work with hijinky ass kids. Whereas he probably expected to be dealing with, you know, given their background and where they're coming from and whatnot, he probably expected to be dealing with kids who are rowdy and violent and going out of their way to cause havoc and chaos and such. Failing to realize that these kids really are just trying to have fun. They're just trying to have some peace. They are really just trying to be kids. They are literally looking for every opportunity to try and be kids. And that's why they play so much. That's why they play too much, because they haven't been able to play all this time. So like it's easy to be like, oh, this kid's just bad, this kid's just doing this and da da da. But it's like at the same time, you gotta be grateful for how they are, because for one, they could be worse, and also the responses and stuff that they're having are also reasonable. They finally gotten somewhere that has a different level of comfort. It's not just family, it's not just a whole house and all of that, but it's also a nice house and a nice neighborhood with their celebrity uncle, you know? So they want to be able to not only benefit from the rest of their childhood that they have, but they also want to be able to benefit from the amenities and accommodations that their uncle has acquired. And a lot of people have been conditioned to see something wrong with that. Even Bernie, as he is portrayed in the show initially. There's some other episodes that kind of implement that mindset that a lot of black people in particular have when it comes to kids. That kids are not supposed to know luxury. That kids ain't got no business having luxury. There's a lot of people that think it's something wrong with your kid even eating ribs. If they eat the rib, let them eat the damn rib. If you can't afford ribs, don't buy ribs. Like, huh? What the fuck? You know? And so, including like that conversation rolls over into, which is the same conversation essentially, but you know, like black nepotism, you know? Or you have certain black people who are rich. This statement is even made on My Wife and Kids, and I believe it's made on The Cosby Show as well. We just heard Tyler Perry say this recently, and a lot of parents get applause for this when naturality is trash. And I'm finna say what it is. They say this statement, I got money, I'm rich, the kids are broke. No, because if you die today, who's gonna take over your shit? It's gonna be left to your heirs. That's the purpose of having kids. Purpose of having kids is for you to give what you have over to them. That's the purpose of having kids, as opposed to how a lot of people have been conditioned and taught and trained that a purpose for having kids is for what they can drain out of the kids, and for labor and benefits and whatnot that they can get out of the kids, when that's ass backwards as fuck. And when you gone, because eventually you have to die eventually. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're gone and all of this stuff is then left over to them, and they don't know what the fuck to do with it because you never allowed them to actually embrace it or form a sense of ownership with it, then what? Now your legacy is shit because you wanted to be a raggedy, financially abusive dictator. You thought it was so cute to be like, oh, I got money, they broke. Oh, okay. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. That's a reflection of you. So yeah, if you have money, if you have things to be inherited, and you have kids, yes, you need to allow your kids to embrace and indulge in that stuff so that they can not only have experience with it, but gain education about it, as well as through the experience. Therefore, they will gain more of a value for it. So when you leave it to them, and or whatever you give them, even when you're alive, they will be fruitful and multiply. That's the concept of that phrase. But in this show in particular, and with this dynamic, I don't think that Bernie is necessarily trying to hoard wealth or anything like that from them. I think it's kind of an out of sight, out of mind type thing, because he didn't have a rich celebrity uncle to go stay with. You know what I'm saying? He has similar experiences to them concerning his childhood, but there are certain things that are strikingly different, and them having a rich celebrity uncle is one of those striking differences. So like I said, I think with Bernie and their dynamic, it's just a matter of him kind of being like dissociated, disconnected from his roots, and therefore disconnected. And it took the happenings of this episode to bring him back on into the neighborhood with us. But that's all I got for this episode, y'all. It was really good. It was really fun watching this episode and also doing the review. And child, with all that being said, child, if I do say so myself, honey, I have milked this cow dry. And I am thoroughly appreciative for the exchange of vibes. And if you're feeling synchronized, please do me a divine design and like, share, and subscribe so that you can be one of the first to be back through these queenly qualities for the next time. And be sure to bless that comment section with your questions and conversations. And as always, I bid you in all ways like love, healing, and